Are you waking up 2, 3, sometimes 4 times a night, standing over the toilet with a weak stream, a bit of dribbling, and that heavy drained feeling in your chest the next morning? Most men assume it's just age or an enlarged prostate, but the truth is the way you hydrate throughout the day may be silently making everything worse. I'm a board-certified urologist, and after treating thousands of men over 50, I've seen how frustrating and honestly, how embarrassing these symptoms can feel. And here's the surprising part. The issue isn't water itself. It's how and when you drink it. There's one overlooked hydration mistake almost every man makes without realizing it. And today, I'm going to show you how fixing it can transform your nights and your flow. If you find this helpful, join our community by subscribing so you never miss videos designed for men like you. But here's what most men don't realize. Your prostate isn't just reacting to age or hormones, it's reacting to the way you hydrate throughout the day. And I don't just mean how much water you drink. I mean the timing, the spacing, and the concentration of that water as it moves through your kidneys and into your bladder. As a urologist, I've watched countless men come into my office convinced that drinking less water will ease their symptoms, only to find that the exact opposite happens. When you don't hydrate properly, your urine becomes thicker, more acidic, and far more irritating to the delicate tissues inside your lower urinary tract. Think of your bladder as a pressure valve. When the urine inside it is light and well diluted, that valve stays calm, the bladder muscles stay relaxed, the prostate stays quiet, and your flow stays steady. But when your urine is concentrated because you haven't been drinking consistently, it's like pouring hot sauce on sensitive skin. The urethra gets irritated, the bladder becomes twitchy, and the prostate capsule itself can swell slightly from the inflammation. That irritation sends false messages to your brain, telling you that you need to urinate more often, even when there's barely anything there. It's one of the main reasons men over 50 struggle with dribbling, urgency, hesitancy, and that frustrating feeling of not fully emptying. What's even more important is how the kidneys react. When you delay water intake or drink in uneven chunks, the kidneys struggle to regulate fluid balance smoothly. They either hold on to more fluid than they should or dump more at once, creating unpredictable pressure in the bladder. And when your bladder feels stressed, your prostate feels stressed. Men describe it as a tightness or a slow start, and they assume it's inevitable with age. But so much of it comes back to hydration patterns they've never been taught to correct. This is why some days you might wake up with decent flow and others you feel like you're pushing against a closed door. It's not random. It's the direct result of how your body has been handling water for the last 12 to 24 hours. And that's something you can control, regardless of age. When men finally understand this connection, they suddenly realize their prostate hasn't been working against them. It's simply been responding to the signals their hydration habits have been sending all along. But here's where most men unknowingly make things worse, and it starts the moment you wake up. But here's something most men never realize about their mornings. The first 90 minutes after you wake up set the tone for your prostate, your bladder, and your urine flow for the entire day. And I mean that literally. When you sleep, your body goes through a natural dehydration cycle. Your kidneys slow down, your urine becomes more concentrated, and your prostate wakes up to a more acidic environment than it likes. That's why so many men notice that their morning flow is slow, hesitant, or split. The tissues are simply irritated from hours without fluid. This is where what I call the morning hydration reset becomes one of the most powerful tools you can use to naturally reduce prostate swelling. Instead of chugging one big glass of water or skipping water altogether and jumping straight to coffee, your body needs a gentle, steady introduction to hydration. I always tell my patients, think of the prostate in the morning like a dry sponge. If you dump water on a dry sponge all at once, it swells unevenly and becomes stressed. But if you slowly moisten it, the sponge absorbs water smoothly and relaxes. Your prostate behaves in the exact same way. This is why the front-loaded hydration window, the first hour and a half of your day, is so important. If you sip water gradually during this window, your urine dilutes gently, the bladder muscles relax, and the prostate capsule itself feels less pressure. Men who do this regularly report fewer spasms, fewer morning trips to the bathroom, and better flow that carries through the afternoon. But when you skip morning water, rely on coffee alone, or try to catch up later, you create a perfect storm of irritation that leads to dribbling and urgency as the day goes on. Here's the simple routine I give my patients. Start with a few slow sips within 5 minutes of waking. Let your body wake up with the water, then drink about half a glass every 20 to 30 minutes until you reach a comfortable amount. Not chugging, not forcing, just steady, consistent hydration that brings your system back into balance. Most men feel the difference within a week. But even if you nail the morning routine, there's a sneaky midday pattern almost every man over 50 falls into. But now here's the mistake almost every man makes in the middle of the day. And it has nothing to do with age, prostate size, or even your hormone levels. It comes down to something I call hydration clustering. This is when you go hours without drinking any water, then suddenly take in a large amount all at once. And most men do this without even realizing it. You get busy, you skip water all morning, you grab lunch, and then you think, I should hydrate, so you down a full glass or two. Or maybe you're heading to the gym and you chug water because you know you didn't drink enough earlier. It seems harmless, but your bladder and pelvic floor experience it very differently. When you suddenly flood your system with a big volume of water, the kidneys kick into high gear. Within 20 to 40 minutes, all that fluid rushes down to the bladder at once. And unlike steady hydration, this creates an abrupt stretch on the bladder walls, almost like blowing up a balloon too quickly. That rapid expansion sends a strong signal to the pelvic floor muscles, the muscles that control your start, stop, and flow. But here's the problem. The pelvic floor reacts by tightening, not relaxing. It's a protective reflex, and when your pelvic floor tightens, at the same moment your bladder is screaming for release. You get that sudden urgency, the panicked search for a bathroom, and the dribbling that happens when the system can't coordinate fast enough. Men tell me all the time how embarrassing this feels. Planning errands around bathrooms, avoiding long car rides, pretending you forgot something in your office just to make an extra trip to the restroom. And the worst part? Many of these men actually have healthy prostates. Their issue isn't structural, it's behavioral. Their bladder and pelvic floor are simply overwhelmed by sudden hydration spikes. This is why those midday catch-up drinks lead to leakage, hesitancy, and that frustrating drip at the end. The system gets confused, the bladder gets overstimulated, the pelvic floor clamps down, and your confidence takes the hit. But luckily, understanding this pattern means you can finally break it. Spreading your water intake prevents the reflex from firing. Slowing down your sips gives your bladder time to adjust. And the moment you do that, both urgency and dribbling start to ease. And yet, the biggest hydration trap actually happens in the evening when you think you're being healthy. But here's the part almost no one talks about. The biggest hydration mistake men make happens at night, when you think you're actually doing something healthy. I can't tell you how many men sit in my office and proudly say, I drink most of my water in the evening, so I stay hydrated. They believe they're helping their body recover, helping their kidneys flush out toxins, or helping their prostate stay clean. And I understand the intention truly. But what happens inside the body after 7 or 8 p.m. is very different from what happens earlier in the day. Your kidneys slow down, your bladder becomes more sensitive, your prostate becomes more reactive to pressure changes, and when you take in a large amount of water after dinner, you're essentially setting yourself up for a night of disrupted sleep and increased inflammation. Think of the bladder's stretch receptors as alarm sensors. During the daytime, they tolerate gradual filling because you're upright, moving around, and actively using your pelvic floor. But at night, when you lie down, those same receptors become more sensitive. Any sudden increase in volume, especially from late water intake, sends a stronger signal to the brain. This is why you get that sudden urge at 1 a.m., then again at 3 a.m., then maybe again just before sunrise. And each of those nighttime awakenings does more than just interrupt sleep. Every time you get up, you trigger a small cascade of inflammation, a shift in your stress hormones, and a disruption in the way your prostate relaxes. Men often tell me, "I don't sleep well because of my prostate." But the truth is, nighttime hydration habits are often the real culprit behind that frustrating cycle. When you're constantly waking up to urinate, your body never enters deep sleep, the stage where testosterone production, tissue repair, and hormonal balance occur. So the next morning you wake up groggy, your prostate feels irritated, your bladder feels tight, and your energy is nowhere to be found. And tragically, many men try to fix this by drinking more water later in the day, which only deepens the cycle. The good news is you don't have to cut water drastically or become strict to fix this. You simply need to shift your hydration forward. I tell my patients to taper gently, drink more during the morning and early afternoon, then reduce your intake gradually after 6 p.m., not cutting it out, just easing back so your bladder has time to process fluids before you lie down. And if you feel thirsty later in the evening, a few small sips are perfectly fine. It's the large glasses that push the system into overload. When men make this one adjustment, their nighttime trips decrease, their prostate irritation eases, and their sleep improves within days. Your body just wants rhythm, not restriction. But here's the good news. Even if you've been making all of these mistakes for years, you can turn it around faster than you think. Let me take a moment to speak to you directly, man to man. I know how frustrating prostate symptoms can be. I've seen the way they chip away at confidence, that quiet feeling that your body isn't listening to you the way it used to. The hesitation, the dribbling, the nighttime trips, the planning your day around bathrooms. It can feel like you're losing control over something that should be simple and automatic. And most men don't talk about it. They carry it silently, thinking they're alone, thinking it's just part of getting older. But you are not alone, not even for a moment. What I want you to hear clearly is this. You're not broken. This is fixable. Your body is responsive, adaptable, and incredibly capable of healing when it's given the right patterns. Even small changes, like shifting when you drink water, can ease pressure on the prostate, calm bladder irritation, reduce inflammation, and restore the natural coordination between your bladder and pelvic floor. These aren't gimmicks, they're physiology. Your dignity matters, your confidence matters, your sleep, your energy, your sense of control, they matter. And the best part is you can start turning this around today. Not by doing everything perfectly, but by taking simple, steady steps that bring your body back into balance. You deserve that hope, and you deserve to feel like yourself again. If you found this valuable, join our community and subscribe so you never miss future guidance designed for men like you. Everything we cover here is made to help you feel stronger, clearer, and more in control of your health each day. And remember earlier when I said the real issue wasn't water itself, but how you drink it. Now you understand the blueprint, and your body will thank you for using it. These simple timing shifts can create real tangible changes in your flow, your sleep, and your confidence. You deserve confidence, strong flow, deep sleep, and steady energy. You deserve to wake up feeling like yourself again. Your health reflects your strength, and you are worth taking care of. So give yourself the chance to improve one habit at a time. And if you want to keep building on this momentum, explore the other videos on prostate support, pelvic floor strength, and nighttime urination. They're here to guide you step by step toward a healthier and more empowered life.